Tragedy in Texas, everyone, after suspected human trafficking leaves 10 people dead. Next, why Texas officials are saying some of the blame lies with sanctuary cities. Tragedy in Texas in what authorities are describing as a human trafficking incident gone wrong. 10 illegal immigrants have been found dead and 20 others hospitalized after being crammed into the back of a tractor trailer in 100-degree heat. A Florida man is accused of driving the truck. Police charging him with a slew of offenses, including transporting immigrants into the U.S. illegally, which carries the possibility of death penalty or life in prison. Joining me right now about our broken borders and what we do about them, syndicated radio host and former CIA officer Buck Sexton. You know, Buck, I think this is an important story for people to see because the reality is, for all those on the left that somehow think we should just open our arms and bring everyone in, we can't. Our system can't handle it. And this incident, this tragedy, is an example of why we need to be doing everything we can to have stronger borders so that no one's even thinking for 2 seconds that they can sneak across the border in these horrific trucks under these horrific circumstances. It's just closed unless you come in the right way.
This is one of those stories that doesn't get much attention, and I think it's because it raises some very troubling questions about policies like sanctuary city policies that encourage people to come because they believe that they can stay. There are hundreds of people in just the last few years who have died in Texas, who have died in Arizona trying to cross the border. And it's unfortunate but true that when you actually have an administration that is taking more measures at the border, people will try more extreme things to get in if they believe that once they get past that more secure border, they will be able to stay. That's why border security is always part of a much larger whole. It's one piece in a policy puzzle, and you need cities, instead of sanctuary cities that are going against this, to be willing to work with federal law enforcement to the degree requested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement, which is very minimal. They just want people to say when they have an illegal immigrant in custody, and they want them to perhaps hold them if they're trying to deport that individual. Sanctuary cities that don't do this are feeding into the problem, which is still making people think that if you just get across the border, there's not enough interior enforcement, you'll be able to stay, and people are dying because of that, that idea.
What do we do about these sanctuary cities? President Trump has threatened to withhold funding. Is that something that could work? Is that what we need to do? Because, you know, they're effectively very much in violation of federal law. And I don't understand how you can be that much in federal law violation and still get all those federal funds.
There are different tiers of sanctuary city policy violation, really. There are some that just openly defy what is existing law when it comes to a congressional statute that says that you have to share the immigration status of individuals that you already have in custody with Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Some places will do that, but then won't hold for the purposes of a detainer request. This is going into the courts. We've been talking about the Trump travel ban, which I think should be called the Trump enhanced screening procedures or something. They should change the name of it. But anyway,
sure.
We've been talking about the travel ban for a while. That's obviously making its way through the courts all the way up to the highest court. This is the next major court battle, sanctuary cities and states against the administration on this issue.
How wild is it to you, though, that we're now at a point where somehow people are seen as racist or xenophobic or somehow just prejudice in general because they say, look, I want my country to have borders? Well,
that's the reality of the Democratic Party right now, is that they are encouraging a degree of lawlessness because it benefits them, they believe, at the polls. So they want a quasi-open border status where if you can get here, you can stay. If that's the reality, you're still going to have, while reduced numbers of illegal immigrants coming into the country, people that are going through extreme measures to do it. And that then factors into all the issues we have about crime, the possibility, of course, of infiltration of terrorists. There's a whole slew of issues when you won't enforce the interior beyond the borders that comes along with this.
Oh, it's such a tragic situation, but it should be a wake-up call for people. Thanks so much, Buck Sexton.